How y'all doing today? Hi, it's Manitoba Hal, and it's another Tutorial Tuesday. I get asked all the time about my right hand and about my strumming technique. So today I thought we'd spend a little bit of time breaking down my right hand, showing you a few different things that I do. And I'm going to use that example I just played for you. So let's get into it a little closer, shall we? So the first thing that I like to point out is that I developed my technique over a lot of years with a lot of different things thrown into it. It's been described as a claw hammer-like strum. It's been described as frailing, which is another banjo technique, I think. Really what it is, it's a combination of fingerstyle playing and contemporary Travis picking, which is, of course, using the fingers to play arpeggios. But I've thrown in there a few things that were just to solve problems that I had along the way. First of which, for example, is that I wanted to do this strum, the Dum-Ching strum. Dum-Ching. So all I'm doing there is I'm grabbing that top string, in this case the G, and I'm doing a chunk with the rest of my hand. So I hit all the strings with my open hand and I come down. Now, in reality, I am strumming with these three fingers almost all the time. The majority of the time it's the middle finger alone, but I keep my whole hand open because I'm going to go from this into finger picking right away, and rather than, you know, doing something like this and having my hand closed, I just find it much more convenient to always have the hand open. The next thing is that I do go back and forth between finger picking and strumming, and you'll notice that when I'm strumming, my hand is closer to the 12th fret, further away from the bridge. When I'm finger picking, my hand comes back to here, and my hand rests upon the bridge, just behind it, so I can roll forward and mute strings if I want, so you get that kind of dead sound, or a little back and keep them open, and it's minor shifts. And that really is what it comes down to. Now, in practice of developing this for yourself, assuming that this is what you want to do, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to practice with metronome and just get your basic strum down like this, and your backstrokes at a bunch of tempos and a bunch of different things, including your triplets. You want to have all that kind of thing going on for you. And then you start bringing in other things. So, for example, the finger picking arrangements. So start with a simple Travis picking. So we usually talk about out-in kind of things where you're playing the outside strings and then the inside strings. So it's G-A-C-E. G-A-C-E is what my right hand is picking here. And you want to be able to do that at tempo because you want to be able to throw that in at a moment's notice. Now the secret to Travis picking is that while you've got this kind of arpeggio going on, you can at will call on a note you want to play. So really what we've got going is just this constant arpeggio, and there's a little bit of independence going on, so I can call it forward. Now, once you take all of those things and you put them together, you get this broken down thing where you're doing a lot more with each strum than you probably are right now at the beginning stages of your performance career. So for example, in that Sweet Home Chicago arrangement that I just played, my pattern is this thumb stroke down here, just like this. Suddenly, I'm into an arpeggio. So just by combining those different techniques, there's a whole lot more going on. Now, at a slow tempo like that, it doesn't sound like a whole lot. It's still nice. But a technique like this really comes to bear when you speed it up. And then it starts to people start to wonder, how does your hand get to be in so many places at one time? So that's really what it comes down to, is you spend a lot of time training your hand to do those individual moves, and then you throw them all together to create a pattern that is unique for the rhythm of your song. Now, the question, I guess, comes down, how do you determine that rhythm? And I don't have an answer for you that is a hard and fast rule. What I like to think of is a couple of ideas. The first one is thinking in terms of counting the beats, just like you would do when you're trying to figure out a song. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Whenever I have a downbeat, like a number, a 1, 2, 3, 4, first off, those are all called downbeats, and that means that I always strum down on them. When I have an and, it's an up. Now, that gets a little more convoluted when you're talking about 1E and a 2E and a, things like that, where you've got this, you know, just like that. 16th notes there, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. But still, you end up with that same 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and. So there's always that straight downbeat. It's clearly got to be counted out and available to you. And then once you get those kind of things defined, then a lot of the other stuff starts to make sense. Now, I spent a lot of years working on this, and I can remember when I tried to learn Travis Pickett for the first time, it was about 6 months before it all came together for me. This is not something that's going to happen overnight for you. But what you want to do is get your metronome out and just start with a couple of simple things. So you could start with just simple arpeggios. So just something like this, where all I'm doing here is I'm pinching, the G and the A string, and then my thumb is coming down and hitting the C string underneath it. I got an A minor 7 going on here, but I don't need to have that. I can just be a C. It doesn't matter what chord I'm playing. What matters is my right hand is just doing this simple thing. So you just keep this kind of a pinch going on and matching a tempo. Don't try to do too fancy a move right now. Just keep this one going. And you can do a whole song with it, you know. Said nobody knows Atlanta like I do. Nobody knows Atlanta like I do. Yeah, the reason I know it, well, I started through and through. So you got my thumb is doing this constant 1, 2, 3, 4. You get that kind of constant moving going on so that your thumb is always doing it. This is my engine right here. Honest to God, 80% of my rhythms are this thumb driving it, just doing something like this. And the other fingers are just picking up extra beats. So that's it. Practice, 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 and more practice, and then practice some more after you think you're bored of that. And you'll get it. Rhythms are some of the most challenging aspects of playing that you're going to have to work on, and it's a part that I think a lot of players overlook. It's over half of what you're doing. You know, you have chords shapes down here that you need to make up and match, and that's true. That's complicated, a lot to remember, but this is what drives everything, is your strumming hand. So your strumming hand should get equal practice time. Anyway, I hope this illuminates some things for you, and I hope you have a great Tuesday, and we'll see you next month. Start of September. Oh my gosh, fall is coming.